homes.
The CDC announces new guidance for vaccinated Americans, what an area health expert thinks of the news.
The White House marks International Women's Day by creating a Gender Policy Council. I'm Natalie Brand with the executive order signed today, plus how 2 female military leaders are poised to make history.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The CDC releases new guidance for people who are fully vaccinated against COVID-19. This is KOAM News at 5. The government agency says people who are fully vaccinated can gather with other fully vaccinated people indoors without wearing a mask or social distancing. Officials also say this new guidance applies for vaccinated people visiting someone considered at low risk for severe COVID-19, such as healthy children. The CDC considers someone fully vaccinated 2 weeks after receiving the last required dose of a vaccine. Local doctors have some differing opinions on the change. We spoke with a doctor at Mercy and a doctor at Freeman. At Mercy, infectious disease specialist Dr. Esguerra thinks it's a good idea since the number of infections around the country has declined. Dr. Rob McNabb at Freeman says it makes sense, but also thinks the decision was more of a societal one instead of a scientific one.
Personally, if we were only talking about this from a safety perspective, I think that continuing on as we have until we reach that herd immunity would probably be the most long-term benefit for all of us.
We're going to hear more from both doctors tonight at 6. U.S. Senator from Missouri Roy Blunt says he will not seek re-election next year. He made the announcement today in this video, thanking Missourians for electing him. The 71-year-old has served 2 terms in the Senate. Before that, he served 7 terms in the U.S. House and 2 terms as Missouri's Secretary of State from 1985 to 1993. Northeast Tech in Afton, Oklahoma is building a new state-of-the-art welding facility. School officials have been planning the new facility for more than a year. It'll be big enough for around 20 welding students to have their own booths. Schools allowing current welding students to sign their names on a steel beam in the middle of the new facility to commemorate it.
The demand for welders out in industry, there's a huge gap between like 30 to 50-year-olds or 60-year-olds. Baby boomers retiring and stuff. We're actually kind of at the end of that. And so there's a big gap where we need more skilled workers out in the industry welding. And so there's a lot of students wanting my program, maybe because it's a really good instructor.
Officials expect the building to be finished by the end of this year or the start of next year. Checking in with Doug Hetty now. Boy, we had a beautiful weekend, Doug, and not a bad start to the work week.
Yeah, the past couple days have been really nice across the region and very warm once again for us today. It's on the windy side, and we've had some clouds which have been increasing over the past couple hours, but looks great. 65 in Pittsburgh, 65 in Miami, Joplin, 70 in Independence, and Neodesha is sitting at 70 degrees. We have these southerly winds which are kicking in, kind of helping those temperatures warm up, and this is what we're going to see over the next several days. We're going to have very nice temperatures for a good chunk of the week, but we also have couple big weather systems which are really going to get going later on this week. Some mid and upper level clouds have been increasing, nothing underneath the clouds, but we are going to get a lot of clouds tonight and then into tomorrow as our next storm system starts to get going out to the west. Through the evening hours, we slide back through the 60s, 50s. We'll drop back to about 49. Of course, we'll look at changes over the next few days here in just a bit.
All right, catch you then. Thanks, Doug. Jury selection is delayed at least a day in the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, accused of causing the death of George Floyd last May. The court is first dealing with an appeal over the possible reinstatement of a third-degree murder charge. Chauvin already faces charges of second-degree murder and manslaughter after pressing his knee into Floyd's neck for about 9 minutes. Opening arguments in the case are slated for March 29th. During an International Women's Day ceremony, President Biden celebrated the nomination of 2 women to top defense leadership positions while also committing to fighting sexual assault in the military. Also today, the president signed executive action aimed at promoting gender equality. Natalie Brand has more from Washington.
The White House marked International Women's Day with an executive order to create a gender policy council. It comes at a time when women are disproportionately suffering from the pandemic's economic fallout.
One of the reasons that women are leaving work is, first because they're in industries that are really under stress, like hospitality, retail, but also because they have caregiving needs that they can't meet.
A second executive order asked the Department of Education to review policy changes made under the Trump administration to Title IX, the federal law prohibiting sex-based discrimination in education. One of the goals is to make sure college campuses appropriately handle allegations of sexual assault. The Biden administration is also marking the occasion with the historic selection of 2 women to key military command posts.
We all need to see and to recognize the barrier-breaking accomplishments of these women.
Monday afternoon, the President, Vice President, and Defense Secretary celebrated the nominations of Army Lieutenant General Laura Richardson to lead U.S. Southern Command and Air Force General Jacqueline Van Ovost to lead U.S. Transportation Command.
General Van Ovost and Lieutenant General Richardson have been tested under the most difficult circumstances, and they are proven leaders.
If confirmed, it will be a first, 2 women serving as combatant commanders at the same time. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
First Lady Jill Biden this morning joined the Secretary of State at the 2021 International Women of Courage Award ceremony, which honored more than a dozen women from all over the world. Honorary awards were also given to 7 Afghan women who were murdered in 2020 while serving their communities. A little bit later, part of the art industry is going digital and drawing big prices at auction. And next in Healthwatch, a new FDA-approved heart procedure is helping some kids avoid the risks of open heart surgery. Researchers in Europe say it is safe to wear a face mask while working out. They examined the breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure of 12 men and women using an exercise bike with and without a mask. None of the results indicated any risk to health. First-year college students reported symptoms of depression and anxiety significantly more often after the coronavirus pandemic began than before. A study at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill found moderate to severe anxiety increased 40%. And moderate to severe depression increased 48%. Hardest hit were Black students, whose incidence of depression grew by 89%. When you think of heart problems, you usually think of older men and women, but 40,000 children are born each year with congenital heart defects, everything from a hole in their heart to faulty valves. Well, now a new FDA-approved procedure is giving some kids a new chance at living a long, healthy, normal life without the risk that comes with open heart surgery.
My chickens, I like to hold them. They're sometimes sassy.
Sassy, just like 9-year-old Mykelin Jones.
But I'm a normal girl, but I just have a different heart.
Mykelin was born with a heart defect.
Born with tetralogy.
Hard to pronounce, but what it means, her pulmonary heart valve wasn't working.
She actually was born blue, so very blue. She had her first open heart surgery when she was 7 days old.
Mykelin has had 2 open heart surgeries. This time around, pediatric cardiologist Bob Gray was able to do a minimally invasive procedure using a newly FDA-approved pediatric Melody heart valve to replace the old one.
It's from a neck vein of a cow, and it's a natural valve. And it takes about 100 to 200 of these veins to find one valve that works.
The valve is sewn inside a catheter inserted into a vein in the groin or neck. Once inside the heart, it replaces the old valve.
The leaflets inside the valve start working right away, and we can do this without stopping the heart, without going on cardiopulmonary bypass, and without opening the chest.
The new procedure cuts recovery time from 6 to 8 weeks to just a few days. No scar, no restrictions. The only recovery Mykelin has now is healing from her latest bike accident. The new, less invasive alternative to open heart surgery may also reduce the number of surgeries these kids will need over their lifetime. Kids as young as 4 or 5 years old can have the Melody heart valve. On average, it'll have to be replaced every 7 years. An analysis of U.S. county health records finds adults living in rural areas experienced higher rates of heart failure and death than adults in urban areas. Researchers from Northwestern University say from 2011 through 2018, some of the highest instances of heart failure deaths happened in rural counties in the South, and the largest increase in cases was among young black men. And a new study in the journal Cancer examines racial disparities in cancer clinical trials. Researchers found trials conducted outside the U.S. were less likely to enroll black patients, which could lead to inaccurate assessments of the safety and efficacy of anti-cancer drugs. Doug Heddy is up next with his complete forecast. And a little bit later, some grocery store chains clarify their stance on customers wearing masks.
The chaos.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice day for us today. A lot of clouds have rolled in over the past couple hours, but temperature is fantastic as we have warmed upper 60s to near 70 for most locations, and we're still sitting into the mid 60s right now, and we'll just kind of slowly drop back as we work through the evening hours. Has been a little bit on the breezy side, but these south winds help those temperatures warm up. But you can see our south winds in that 10 to 20 mile per hour range, and then we've been getting gusts higher than that, especially in our western counties. And it's going to stay windy tonight, windy tomorrow. In fact, it's going to get even windier as we go through the next couple days, but that also helps our temperatures warm up even a little bit more. Looks good. We're looking off toward the south and east from the station. 65 south winds sustained at 17. Of course, gusts are higher than that. We've had a red flag warning in effect for us today just due to the humidity being so low. It's at 27%, but the humidity is really going to increase over the next couple days, so we're not going to have that issue, even though it's going to be very windy. We'll drop back through the 60s, 50s, down to about 49 later on tonight, and we're going to stay dry. Even though we have these clouds, which have been increasing, we are going to stay on the dry side as we go through the evening into the overnight hours. But this is just the beginnings of our next storm system. It's actually 2 or 3 waves which are going to head out toward us over the next few days. The first wave is just rolling out into the western plains, and that's why we have the clouds. But the main storm systems back to the west, parts of California, Oregon, and also Washington, which will really affect us later on in the week. So let's go through tonight. You can see we have a lot of clouds streaming through, but besides that, we're okay. As we go through the daytime hours tomorrow, partly sunny skies. It's going to be mild. It's going to be windy. Once again, as temperatures warm up nicely, 49 to start, 69 by noon, high temp up to 73 during the afternoon. But we're going to have the south winds at about 20 to 25 and gusts 35 to 40. So it's going to be very windy. Tomorrow night, a lot of clouds. Could see a random shower across the region. Really from tomorrow afternoon on, we're going to have rain chances increasing. So a slight chance for a shower late tomorrow, slight chance for a shower tomorrow night. And then Wednesday, a little better chance for some scattered showers, especially as we head into the afternoon. I think out to our west, we're going to get thunderstorms, and some of those are most likely going to be severe. But we'll get some scattered thunderstorms Wednesday evening into Wednesday night. Some of them could be strong, most likely not severe, but something we want to watch as we go through at least the next couple days. And then as we go into Thursday, the main front sinks in. And that's going to give us a really good chance for showers and thunderstorms. Again, some of those could be strong, probably not severe, but something we want to watch. And then the front drops through, so we cool down for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but the moisture sticks around. Rain continues on Friday. Heading into Saturday, showers, thunderstorms continue. Into Sunday, showers and thunderstorms continue. So it stays very wet as we head into the weekend. 73 tomorrow, slight chance for a shower late. Thunderstorm chances increase Wednesday, and you can see rain all the way through the weekend, but our temperatures cool down a bit back into the 50s for the weekend. Of course, daylight saving time begins Saturday night.
Oh, I love that, the prospect of more evening daylight. And with
the
sun will set
temperatures. 7:30.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doug. Hey, don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with KOAM Skywatch weather app. You can get those severe weather updates sent straight to your phone, and it doesn't cost a thing. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Again, just search for KOAM Skywatch weather app. Coming up, the growing digital side of the art industry. First, though, we honor a local World War II veteran. Paul LaTurner served in the U.S. Army from 1943 to 1946. The Galena, Kansas native was stationed in the Philippines, and we are proud to salute technician 5th grade Paula Turner, a 4-state hero. As some states begin lifting mask mandates, companies are clarifying their positions on face coverings. Grocery store chain H-E-B says it expects shoppers to continue to wear masks while in its stores. Its statement comes after some confusion over where it stood when last week the chain said employees and vendors would continue to wear masks while customers would not be required to wear them. Disneyland is now among the theme parks that can reopen next month. The California parks are allowed to operate at 15% capacity. So far, only people who live in the state can actually buy tickets. Disneyland's president called the news encouraging, saying thousands of people will now be able to get back to work. The majority of Americans who expect a tax refund this year say they're counting on it in 2021. That's according to a new creditcards.com survey. Of those anticipating money back, 28% plan to pile that into savings, while another 25% plan to pay off debt. 17% say they'll use it for everyday expenses. Art is going state-of-the-art, with canvas being replaced by computers. Reporter Nancy Chen looks at how new-age digital art is selling like some classics.
While art is in the eye of the beholder, the collectors of these digital pieces are left holding not much of anything. That's because the works only exist online. This computer-generated work, known as Crossroad, was sold for a record $6.6 million by Miami collector Pablo Rodriguez Fraile.
You can go into the Louvre and take a picture of the Mona Lisa, and you can have it there, but it doesn't have any value because it doesn't have the provenance or the history of the work.
They're known as non-fungible tokens, or NFTs. Each image, video, or animation has blockchain technology, certifying ownership and authenticating them as unique. Even esteemed auction house Christie's has launched its first ever sale of digital art, with bids hitting more than $3.5 million and climbing.
In the first 10 minutes of bidding, we were at $1 million. Never seen anything even remotely close to that kind of activity.
The Russian NFTs is tied to sports trading cards. Last fall, the NBA launched their Top Shot online platform, where users can buy and trade video highlights from games. Sales for February alone climbed to around $200 million, with one collector paying $208,000 for a clip of a LeBron James slam dunk. Buyers are also looking at NFTs as investments. While some warn of a bubble, others like Nashville collector Nate Hart say the hype is high, with real potential.
Early NFT guys have kind of been presented with the same opportunity as maybe people who found Bitcoin early were.
But for many, these buys are about the bragging rights, so that even if you can't hang the painting, it's at least something to hang your hat on. Nancy Chen, CBS News, New York.
Yeah, I know, I don't really get it either. Final check of the forecast up next. The CBS Evening News is next. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to hear more from area health experts on the CDC's new guidance for fully vaccinated people. Plus, reconstruction work begins on the fire-damaged Olivia building in Joplin. And the Kansas governor declares a disaster emergency because of the high risk of fires. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Now, a koala in eastern Australia has received the world's first prosthetic foot, especially designed for the marsupial. Triumph, a male koala born without a right foot, was rescued in 2017 in northern New South Wales. A U.S. company which specializes in animal prostheses rose to the challenge to create a foot for Triumph, but they were unsuccessful after several attempts. Well, then an Australian dental prosthetist volunteered to build Triumph a working prosthetic foot, which was attached successfully this year, making it, I suppose, a bit easier to eat those eucalyptus leaves or whatever else koalas do. Doug Heddy, the weather looking pretty nice, although it is windy out there.
Yeah, and it's going to stay windy for us tonight and then again into the daytime hours tomorrow, really the next couple days. But temperature is pretty good, 49 tonight, 72 tomorrow, but we're going to have those winds gusting 30 upwards to 40 miles per hour. Very slight chance for a shower tomorrow, but chances increase by Wednesday.
CSX, let's take care of ourselves and each other.